You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk, a movie podcast where we give pumps and dumps.
Hello and welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders, and this week I am your hunk.
I'm Doge, and you nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness Chunkster?
Nice.
And I'm Carter. If your mom pisses you off, you don't want to bite her chunk off.
Hey, remember a second ago when you said you're the hunk?
Who?
You
did.
Me. Why'd you do it?
Hey, hunky boy.
It's because we are recording this episode very late into the eve, and it's Spook City here.
Yeah, we've done this before.
Spook City population, the Two Chunks
It
boys.
is very
Fan.
scary in this warehouse that we are in to record where the murders happened years and years ago.
I think we've talked about this before. I think maybe during Do You Believe in Magic, we recorded some Two Chunks nights.
It's just
But
very spooky at night.
like this kind of like shared workspace, big warehouse environment feels like a really like horror movie, horror video game.
Big
like,
time.
That's
But
just what it is.
I'm the hunk because a piece of acoustic paneling fell off the wall and scared me literally to death.
Hey, tell them about your
You
heartbeats.
got proof, dude.
How many of those heartbeats did you have?
I checked my watch and my heartbeat jumped like 30 BPM in the span of that 1 second.
We're just ready. So at any moment, there's going to be a lot of editing for this one.
Just know that the whole time we're talking,
screaming.
we're like on the edge of our seat, like every muscle we're clenching because it is so
So
spooky.
all of
in
our
here.
laughs just be like, ha ha, yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
But really we're crying.
Michael Sheen?
Oh my
Michael Sheen,
gosh.
happy birthday.
Michael Mean?
Scheichel mean. Okay.
I think this is a day of celebration.
Do you?
Personally.
Well, yeah. Tell me why.
The darkness of this area, literal darkness of the area outside of Casa de Chunk, it's like when Gandalf walked through Moria with light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, guys, this is the last time we have to talk about this series.
But
yeah.
oh my, how
Dawn
high
is
the mountain
truly
is
breaking.
to climb.
It's amazing.
So the movie that we're talking about in this one is called The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2. Dish. Will you give me a synopsis? The Californians. You guys heard of that? At Saturday Night Live? It's so good.
Dude, Saturday night, that's probably my favorite way to spend a Saturday night on NBC. So for Twilight, for these particular flicks, I've been reading the work of other people who have
Brilliant
devoted their lives and their minds to contributing to IMDb's great library of synopsis. Nobody did that for this one. There's really just the one.
Did you
that
try
submitted.
checking IMDb instead?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Instead of IMDb, which is what you said?
Wow, dude. He
The
totally
internet-
called you out.
Internet Movie Database.
It is like, it's like a vase. It holds it
because
all.
the true movies bloom out of this vase.
It holds all the data.
Anyway, nobody did that for this one.
Man.
It was really,
Wait, really?
It was really just the one synopsis
Because they were
that
all
Summit
just blown
submitted.
away.
Let me double check because I could be lying to you. Oh no, there were some, but there's one that's better, and it's a review. Somebody
Oh.
went to the review section
Great.
and they wrote a synopsis as their review. This is from IMDb user Hati Setinas.
Oh, this is going to be a good review then.
Have you vetted this?
I have vetted this. March 31st, 2013. Hati writes, Spectacular, a film. Breaking Dawn is a fantasy film, although it's also a love story.
It sure is.
The film stars Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, and Taylor Lautner. It is the story of Bella and Edward get married. Bella becomes pregnant. There have 2 children, impossible. Because Edward is vampire, Bella is because Edward is vampire, Bella is human. Bella will remain weak during pregnancy. In spite of everything, Bella gives birth to a child. Their child's name is Röneeesme. It is R-O with an umlaut, N-E-E-E-S-M-E. Their child's name is Röneeesme. Bella dying, Edward converts vampire of Bella. Inosa Röneeesme, Irene informs the Volturi They decided war. Alice saw future. They don't war. They live happily forever. In my opinion, the film is a gripping and spectacular. You should watch.
Who's Irina? Who's this character, Irina?
The cousin, isn't it?
It's the
Maggie
cousin.
Grace.
Oh,
It's Maggie Grace, the
gosh.
daughter from Taken.
Wow.
Oh,
We couldn't have written something better than that. So thank you to you.
So let's talk about, I mean, this is mostly a synopsis of Breaking Dawn 1 and 2, where we really need to get into it. And I'll read it again. The part 2 is, Irina saw Röneeesme. Irina informs the Volturi. They decided war. Alice saw future. They don't war.
They don't
They
war.
live happily forever. The film is a gripping and spectacular. You should watch.
it sounds like the like this if you cry every team.
Yeah, 100%. They don't war. Oh my goodness.
So the first thing that happens in this movie, we pick up right where we left off with Bella's red
Literally.
eyes opening.
Literally. Well, but first we go through a 4.5 minute opening title sequence.
So from a motion graphic standpoint, that's a very cool title sequence.
I thought it was pretty cool.
It's so long.
It is
like,
pretty long.
This doesn't feel like it fits with the other Twilights because we've never had that before.
And it's the same director as part 1.
It is?
Yeah. Breaking Dawn part 1.
Feels like a completely different movie.
Same guy.
I mean, not that it was a high bar to shoot for in the first place, but you want to know something though?
What?
I think I found my happy place.
You did?
I
The
think
happy
so.
place I found in part 1?
I think so.
Oh, good.
There was I don't know what it was, but just in watching this movie, it was like the freedom of having given up allowed me to like see through the veil.
Yeah.
And my eyes were opened to really the same thing over again, but I just laughed a lot more this time.
Good. I'm so glad.
I laughed basically from start to finish.
Totally changes the experience.
It really does.
It's absurd how awful this one is.
Do we get to talk first about how she's discovering what she's capable of?
Yeah, please. Yeah, let's do that.
A dump immediately. You have a fresh-born baby, and both parents have just left to go learn how to be a vampire.
Yep.
Like you left
Peace.
your biggest responsibility at home to have this sequence. Like, give me a kiss on the head.
Yeah.
Or something.
Anything.
She actually hasn't-
other than all she says.
She's
is,
never held her, right? She holds her when she comes
Has
back.
she even seen her?
No, she hasn't. She says, "Where's Röneeesme?" And he's like, "She's with my sister," and she's like, "Good enough for me."
I'm hungry.
So
Like,
I got to go eat myself a wall climber.
the vampire effects in this are laughably bad.
at their series worst.
Like series worst vampire effects when Kristen Stewart is climbing the mountain to eat that backpacker is the most unintentionally funny thing I've seen in one
It's
of our movies.
really
so far.
bad. And they decide now anywhere and at any distance that the vampires move, it's going to be that fast.
it's
motion
light
thing.
speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's irresponsible.
So it starts, they're going to hunt a deer, right?
Yep.
So it's very much the beginning of the new God of War game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yep.
pretty much that plot.
It's pretty
from
much
here
just
on out.
that the rest of the time.
You got to carry Röneeesme to the highest peak.
Yes. She's about to jump on the deer, drink some deer blood.
And then she sniffs. Uh-oh, climber.
A rock climber, and then just decides to go chase him down. She's a newborn. We've learned
Yeah.
newborns very strong.
And she's just like, and
And
then,
she can't control her thirst because she's a newborn.
but then she just can.
She just can, and that's why Bella is what's called a Mary Sue in
Yeah.
fiction. We've talked about Mary Sues on the show before. A Mary Sue is somebody who every time they try anything at all, they're just the best at it.
Yeah.
And it's really, really common in young adult fiction for your main character to be a Mary Sue. Paul Walker's a little bit of a Mary Sue in Fast and Furious because he's just this guy he's great at everything. And
Jack
he never
of all
has to
trades,
actually try at anything
master
because
of
he's
all.
so good at everything.
Yeah.
That's good.
But she doesn't eat the hiker and instead eats the cougar that was going to eat the deer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like,
You guys ever watch Kristen Stewart body slam your high school mascot and then eat his blood?
you
Because
guys
I
been
have.
cougars?
We were.
What would that scene have been with your high school mascot?
An eagle.
Ooh,
Dang,
She
that
would
would've
have
been
jumped real
cool.
high.
that would have been neat too. Mine's a badger.
So she would have lost that fight.
Yeah, well, I just
I
want to see the
imagine
badger hunting a deer.
Imagine Kristen Stewart just diving headfirst into a badger hole.
Yeah.
Just like arms straight ahead of her, just
And she's
into the
like,
dirt.
it tastes good.
It's What a strange way to open this flick.
I don't like Röneeesme face.
Oh, are we talking about that already?
I mean,
let's talk about it.
We're about to see baby girl when she gets back home.
All right,
Wait,
this is my
who?
super dump for this
Whose
movie.
face? Who are we talking about?
Röneeesme.
Röneeesme.
Röneeesme's
Röneeesme.
CGI face is my super dump. It is the most baffling movie decision I
Why
have
did they
ever
do that?
experienced in my whole life.
They wanted the baby to look like a mixture of Kristen Stewart and the actress who plays older Röneeesme.
There's no
To which
reason.
I say, no one cares at all.
No one
No.
ever has.
Every baby looks the same at first. Let any
Yeah.
baby play it. And then toddler is still nasty CGI face. I mean, it is just in a series full of the worst decisions I've ever seen. This one takes the cake.
Yeah,
This is hands down the worst decision.
I
Well,
was
Was it your super dumb too, Doge?
no, it is not my super dump. The fact
I was
that
in awe.
the fact that this exists in a movie and it is not my super dump, I think speaks to the quality of this particular film.
There
It's
is
just so strange.
everything else from this movie will fade from my memory, but I will never forget this face.
The
I don't know.
CG baby face.
And I've got a dump too on the continued Jacob Röneeesme relationship. Is so
Yeah, no, it's gross.
strange.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
like
nasty.
it.
It really is. I don't think I've seen anything like that.
And when Jacob reveals that he has given Röneeesme a nickname, that's like, I didn't realize that was like some form of a trope until it happened. And then I was like, oh, I hate when this happens, but I don't
Yeah.
know how to define it, but just this like, oh, but Nessie's gonna, I shouldn't have said that. Like that whole
Yeah.
thing drives me
Ugh.
nuts.
Also,
It should be Noosie, right?
Röneeesme is a bad name. Nessie is the worst nickname for that bad name.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's really bad.
Oh my goodness.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Do you think Kristen Stewart is better at being a vampire than just being plain old Bella?
Actually, I do.
I do think so.
Same here.
Yeah.
Actually, I do. I think that
Same here.
this is her at her series best.
Yep.
Is it a good performance or is it just the role has been rewritten? You know what I mean? Like the parameters of her role are now redefined to better accommodate what she's actually good at.
I think
don't
that's
know.
probably it.
There's still a little bit of me that's like, because I'm probably biggest team Kristen Stewart of
You're
the
a case
three of
to
us.
apologist.
Yeah. And so it's just kind of I don't know, it's more out there, so it feels like that's acting. Whereas if you kind
Right.
of if you lean back into something like just
more
being
real.
a shy, semi depressed goth type girl, it's like it's harder to see someone pull that off than trying to be like half monster, fight through that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that her it seems like she maybe is able to take control of situations a little more in this movie, which she felt less like second fiddle to Edward
Yeah.
in this movie than any other one.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
guess- I think so.
They got
So-
some pretty awesome fight dance later too.
Well,
Real
no,
quick,
no.
we're what, probably 15, 20 minutes into our hour, 50-minute movie at this point? Or
Yeah.
did you guys say 20 minutes? What is Kristen Stewart? Who's the protagonist? What do they want? And what is blocking that goal?
There's not really a protagonist. There is only a response to the antagonist in this movie. There is nothing we are working towards except not having the bad thing happen.
We have a random connection at a wedding to see that somebody's pretty pissed about Laurent, their boyfriend, getting killed.
And I'm not a fan of final chapter complication reveals. So like, I don't like that we're in the fourth movie in this season and just now are like, oh, we should have mentioned this earlier, but children are kind of frowned upon in the vampire community.
Yeah, that
Like,
was
come
deep.
on.
There were
Yeah.
some parts of it to where there were some cool things about it. That was like it's kind of a question that you normally wouldn't think to ask, but they kind of went out of their way to answer it.
I
Like,
actually love the idea of developmentally, like you stop. So like they're still throwing
if it's
tantrums.
a kid, yeah, they're still
Yeah.
throwing tantrums and they're
But
just
their
bad
tantrums
news.
can level cities.
But homie, I hope that little kid doesn't. Who knows what's going to be ingrained in his mind on that set? Like, can we put the ketchup
for
around your
real.
mouth and here's all the dead bodies?
For real.
Yeah, that's kind of a yucky
Kind
one.
of feel sorry for
For
him.
real.
But
And they throw him on the fire. But anyway, all that to say,
yeah,
that's a
yeah, that
that's
was
a
awful.
little that's a plot check.
Yeah.
I'll be doing those periodically through this movie. Just,
Okay, good,
just
thank
to
you.
help you guys.
No, thank
help
you.
you guys help me figure out what is going on.
Plot check.
So in addition to leaving to hunt without their newborn baby, they also leave to go check out their new Hansel and Gretel cottage.
Yeah.
And then next morning, it is revealed that they're planning to move. So here's my question. Why give them a cottage?
Maybe they're like in 100 years we'll come back here to this one.
Well, that is kind of what they say, but still. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's stupid.
And we get yet another long, drawn-out Wii Sports session.
Yeah, and what they've done too, though, like with the cottage, and then when we see Vampires of the World, is they've decided to make the world too big, too fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was no build up to all the extra stuff, except for some of our family being at the wedding, right?
Yeah.
And
that makes
then
sense.
they put all of this on us at once. And I was trying to think, I mean, does Return of the King do this to an extent, and why was it better? More than just the obvious things, but like Return of the King introduces a lot of new things in the Lord of the Rings series.
I think Return of the King works because those things aren't coming to us. We're going to those things. You know what I mean? Like Lord of the Rings is a journey story.
Right.
Makes
And
sense.
so
that
we're
still
going to
learning.
these things. So it's going to be way different. But, you know, like we're not going to see the same kind of people that we saw in the Shire at the gates of Mordor.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of
makes sense.
a lot of the history in that fiction world is talked about throughout
It's already
the earlier
established.
films. It's being established.
Yeah,
Now-
it's a geopolitical history.
And it kind of felt like that though to me. And it's not to bash Lord of the Rings by any means, but it was just like, where else have I seen something like this to kind of put together this random army with different skill sets to take on the
Sure.
ultimate evil? You know, it was very interesting.
Now, what I do want to talk about with the cottage real quick before we move on too fast, it was fully furnished and they just got it that day.
Yeah.
So Alice and Jasper like for sure murdered the original occupants of that cottage.
Should they just steal all the stuff or that's the thing, because Carlisle has been a vampire for like 150 years. So he's got lots of the dollars, but did he just go spend like hundreds of thousands of them at one time and just be like, yeah, it's on my Discover card or whatever?
They just murdered like an old couple that lived
You really
in
want
the
that to
as long as they
cottage
don't
and just
drink
took all
their,
their
as long as
stuff.
they didn't drink their blood, then it's cool.
Yeah,
I'm,
it's not- it's
I'm
not the
happy
murder
they
that's
did
the
it,
problem.
It's
honestly.
totally fine.
Maybe the old couple was like real racist.
Maybe.
That could have
That
Killed
could
them.
have been it.
Eat them up.
Could have been it.
Can we talk about
Yes.
maybe what's next is I kind of pump on them teaching her how to act like a human.
no
Teaching Bella how to act like a human.
I kind of do a little
She's
bit.
been a human for 18 years. She doesn't need help.
No. Well, it's because she's having to like harness all this new stuff.
But they're telling her, like, remember, humans breathe like this. Remember, humans don't full speed, light speed sprint across
Right.
room.
Well,
like
these are
she
all
knows
things
that.
in our
to be
subconscious.
fair, have you ever walked into a conversation being like, yeah, I need to remember to breathe?
No.
That's like she has to do that now. So
Right.
I'm playing both sides. Like she
I
has to
hear
do
you,
that now, but it is
But
stupid.
my problem is like everything that she has to do is not like, here, sit down, let me teach. She's not an alien that you're trying to make fit in public.
That's fair.
Their advice is basically like, move slower. Oh, okay. Yes.
yeah,
I had a real problem with that scene.
I didn't.
And I know that you
but I
liked it.
see where I completely see where you're coming from. I guess it gave us a chance to be like, it was more of the, not the lore, but it was kind of like, what had they been living through? Like,
yeah.
these are things that we've had to think about for a long time.
Yeah.
This whole time you've been like, I love Edward. I want to be a vampire. Well, stuff comes with that, which they don't make it as much negative stuff as what. So if this is a big dump for me, if all this stuff is happening and both Edward and Bella end up loving it so much and it's the best thing that they could have ever done for each other, then why was Edward so concerned for 4 movies?
Exactly.
Now the
There's no
Charlie stuff was
downside.
tough.
The Charlie stuff
because
yeah.
she was going to have to lie to him, but as we
Which
find out in
also
this
makes
movie
no
is
sense.
what we find out in this movie is it's okay. Everybody will be fine.
Yep.
Now, one thing before we get there, because
To the end?
that's next. That's next with Charlie. The
Oh, I
werewolf
thought you meant
reveal.
they're
Yeah.
there when we. Okay.
Oh no.
yeah, okay.
But one thing that I do want to talk about is like how cool it is that during that scene when she was learning how to be more human,
Yeah.
that they just like blared ABCs by the Jackson 5 as loud as possible. It was just like, where to start the learn?
I think it was so perfect
cool.
that I didn't notice.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Go back.
I was
It's
like,
amazing.
is this Guardians of the Galaxy? Because I love it.
Oh, it's so good.
I
Suicide Squad.
I hope Groot's
please.
dancing outside the window.
Oh, it's so good. Basically next, Jacob, interchangeable. Jacob is like, I have to keep you here, Bella. I'm going to go find out a way to make that happen. And then the way he does that is strips nude in front of Bella's dad and werewolves.
My super pump.
It was kind of funny.
It was
is
kind of funny.
absolutely hilarious when he takes all of his clothes off. But the wolf transformation here actually looks like a werewolf transformation. It doesn't look like a wolf explodes out of a Taylor Lautner exoskeleton.
Yeah.
Like his muscles start to change shape under his skin and it looks nasty and it looks stupid, but they're trying for the first time in
gave
this
some
entire
effort.
series to
Finally.
make these werewolves look like they're turning into wolves.
See, I also think it was funny. I'm with you on that. Like, it was a goofy scene, and I laughed out loud at her dad's reaction. I just have so much issue with the logic here.
There is none.
I know.
Well,
It's so weird.
It's more about him just having his shirt off again than
Which,
anything. I
yeah,
really
I mean,
think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get me complaining.
I did pause it. I was happy.
Do you know which movie of this series made the most money domestically in the U.S.?
New Moon. I'm going to guess New Moon.
You're right.
It's the power of the first shirt reveal.
Yeah.
New Moon. It's that
Yeah.
stupid thing because it was a majority Taylor Lautner.
Yep.
That's why this kept making money. Makes me
that is
very angry.
unbelievable.
That is wild
New Moon.
to me. And yeah, listeners, in case you are not clued in already, Carter really, really, really hates Taylor
I
Lautner.
feel like Carter's made that pretty clear.
I know, but I feel like maybe if this is for some reason your first episode of this show,
Yeah, Carter, how do you feel about this boy?
Yeah, I wanted to make that our new God Has Forsaken Us. It's just Lautner.
just
Lautner.
It's a Lautner for me.
it's a werewolf thing. You wouldn't understand.
Oh my
Face it. I am hotter than you.
It's getting better in a bad way.
It really is.
So
Man.
so he shows Charlie what he can
What he got.
what he can become naked, right? Oh, he does. He really does.
And then he basically comes back and is like, handled it.
How did that handle it?
Dude, what did it fix?
Nothing.
Because what does that have to do with Bella is my question. So like, he
Yeah.
reveals that he's a werewolf and then he's
Yeah.
like, your dad's cool with you not being dead now. Everything's fine.
Like what should have happened is tell your father you're a vampire.
yeah.
Or don't.
Or don't.
And do everything that you did the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
no reason for Charlie to
the
know he's a vampire.
werewolf
He's a
reveal
werewolf.
changes
it's so
nothing.
dumb.
And
And then
because
Charlie,
they got her colored contacts instead of just having her tell her dad that she was wearing colored contacts.
yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand. Which
It doesn't make sense.
this was a point in the movie where I was like rolling on my couch laughing.
Yeah.
So I gathered a lot of enjoyment.
And poor
from
Charlie,
this.
dude. I want to think he's smarter.
I think he did a really great job in that scene of
He-
being torn.
He did.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, you're growing up so fast. Like when he sees,
Yeah. That's
dude,
pretty
come on,
unbelievable.
catch
Well,
on, dude.
I'll give him this. He does say like another thing that I can't know about. Like basically is like,
Yeah.
I'm buying into the weird stuff.
It's bizarre.
It's
And I don't-
lazy.
I don't think we need the wolf thing for that.
No.
It's a little bit like Maslow's tool. Are you guys familiar with that like kind of cognitive like
no,
dissonance?
professor.
the theory or like,
The when all you have is a hammer or when you are a hammer.
Is that when the bell rings and the dogs drool?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you are a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I think Jacob's one thing that he can do is take his shirt off and be a wolf. And so he's like, I fixed
That's
it.
how I
I,
fixed
took-
the
I took my
situation.
shirt
That's
off and
all
I
I
was
got.
a wolf to him. So
Well-
like he knows now.
What would have made me really happy is if he had come back and the Cullens were like, you did nothing.
What did you just do?
Yeah, like if there had been consequences for him jumping to that conclusion, I think I would have some like affinity for that part in the movie, being like, okay, that's really good. But instead, it just does work for some reason.
yeah. Burp.
I don't understand. I love
so
it,
weird. Yeah.
but
oh,
I
yeah.
don't understand
the scene is my super pump.
of the reveal specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the fact that it happens is a dump.
Yeah, it's a big,
You know what I mean?
big doo doo. But you know, what are you gonna do?
What you could do? Watch a good movie? No.
Bella takes Röneeesme out into the woods
Renews me.
and is seen by Irina from about 3/4 mile.
She's a vampire.
And she's just like, oh, that's Irina. That's our cousin from Denmark or wherever.
It's like Röneeesme, go get another snowflake. Okay. Like just like floating in the
jumps
air.
like 30 feet. And then Irina's like, that's not a normal kid.
huh? Yeah. What?
And then Bella's basically just like, hey, sorry.
Yeah. Just trying to chase her down.
She runs away. And then Bella's like, the weirdest thing happened in the woods today.
Yeah.
Somebody saw us and then walked away.
It's just, so
So okay,
this is where our
we're-
consequences begin, right?
We're here. We're about 25 minutes into our podcast. We're about 40 minutes into our movie.
Plot check.
Just a plot check. Who's the protagonist? What do they want? What's at stake? And what is keeping them from achieving that goal? Can we honestly answer any of those questions? I think we can confidently say Bella's the protagonist.
I actually think I'm going to argue with you there. I think that this movie is. I think our heroes of this movie, our main characters, are the antagonists. From the textbook definition of antagonist is working against the protagonist. The protagonist has a goal, and the protagonist, the only people with goals here are the Volturi.
That's actually probably a fair way to look at it because the Volturi do grow and exhibit change. And our protagonists that we follow the whole movie are static.
Yeah. So I really think that we are watching a movie from the perspective of the antagonists. And the antagonists are the rule breakers, the ones who are shaking things up on accident and are unwilling to change.
I'm so sorry. I have to. If I ever laugh randomly, I'm just thinking about things that are happening in this movie, and we'll get to them later. It would not make sense for me to just jump in, but there's stuff I remember, and I just start laughing. It's been happening to me all day.
We actually never covered Taylor's sandwich bite.
Oh my goodness, you guys.
That,
Taylor Lautner crunches what appears to be a sandwich that's made of 2 pieces of white bread.
And it crunches.
It crunches big. It reminds me a lot of when Paul Walker took the world's biggest bite of his sandwich
So
in that Fast and Furious. I am saying, and I think we all know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Taylor Lautner confirmed sandwich crazy.
So sandwich crazy. I mean, I felt like he was really trying to be in character, like for the first time, like method acting is like, how would a wolf bite a sandwich?
How would a dog bite a sandwich? Man, if only I had been able to put that
He's finally
Burger
putting
King
those jaw
commercial.
muscles to legitimate work. You know?
Talk about unnecessary scenes. It lasts all of 1 second. And it adds nothing.
I think
Why have a
it's always
sandwich?
been his lifelong dream to eat a sandwich on camera. That's why he auditioned for the Burger King commercial.
Oh,
and his dreams were blocked by Burger King.
Dropped
he's
it,
he's like in your face Burger King.
In your face Burger King. I'm going to eat a white bread sandwich and I'm going to crunch it so hard that you think it's one of your good Whoppers.
if he had dropped it, turned around and throat chopped Edward, it would have been everything he cares about.
That would have been an example of every life stage of a Taylor Lautner, which is, of course, first karate, then Burger King, then wolf. That's his Pokemon evolution.
So good.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Karate Taylor.
Ooh.
Burger. Karate Taylor. Wapner.
Get out of here.
It's just bad.
It's really bad.
So basically, Volturi are like, no, we can't have none of that. And then the Cullens are like, it's time for us to come up with a game plan. But speaking of time to do things.
Hang on, just time to do things. Let's just check back in with our plot check. This is 45 minutes into the movie. If the Volturi are the protagonists, they don't show up for the first half of the movie.
That's correct.
We spend half of our movie completely untethered from any sort of narrative structure.
Well, technically,
watching things just happen.
They show up on screen, but they don't show up until like the last 20 minutes.
We don't feel the influence of the protagonist in our narrative until over halfway through.
But before I was so rudely interrupted, I was saying something, and that something was, speaking of time to do things.
Speaking of it.
It's time to head on over to our favorite little corner. Shout announcements. Shout announcements.
You're gonna start just completely cutting this part out.
So in this week's Shout announcements, we want to start out by thanking some of our favorite people, and that would, of course, be Wax Space and Tyler Station. Thank you so much for letting us use your space, use your situation, and
your
use
station.
your room.
Even though you're
situ
spooky.
station.
Even though you're spooky, we were still thankful.
Yeah.
It's either this or the street.
And man,
that's true. That's so true. Can you imagine how loud those cars would be on these
That's a little more
microphones?
spooky.
We're right by a dart station. It would be a lot of bells. We also want to say thank you to Podbean. We pay you money. We put stuff on you. Podbean.
I see you looked up their slogan. That's their actual slogan.
You pay us money. You put stuff on us.
There it is.
Also want to give big chunky shout outs to Ben Trotter, Elise Evans, Jordan Green, and at Call Me a Smark on Twitter. Thank you guys, each of you, for interacting within the last 24, 48, 72 hours with us.
You guys rule so much.
You guys rule so much. And you and all the people like you who are listening and watching these movies along with us, this is awesome. It's so fun to be a part of a community of people that are listening to the same things and watching the same things. So
This is cool.
This is great.
I just thought of this. I was texting with Will Rays earlier today, and he told me, I was saying to him, like, dude, we need to get together. It's been a long time. He was like, I hear you, but it feels like we hang out all the time.
Oh, dude, that's so cool.
I know. He was like, I listen to you guys so much. And he told me that he literally went back and watched some movies because we were reviewing them. And he was like, I hadn't watched them in forever. I went back and watched them.
That's so fun. There's been a handful of people that I have heard have kind of used us as a commentary as they're going through a series again.
And if we're making people want to watch movies, that's literally the greatest thing I can think of.
Yep.
For sure. And it's such a cool season right now to get that much feedback. And then, like, before I ask for more subscribers, I want to thank those that are subscribed now.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Just today, like, it's fun. Like, it means a lot to us. Like, we'll message each other throughout the day. We probably communicate in some form every day, at least about the podcast or following how many downloads. But this was our highest downloaded day that we've had. And it's so cool to continue to see progress. Yes, ever. Not just in this month or the last 30 days, but since day one, which has been over a year.
Yeah.
And we're just in our prime, and it's really awesome. And so with that, for those of you that are subscribed, if you're enjoying it, we would love for you. We know that a lot of you are influencers and you've got a lot of people around you. Like, let them know about it.
Yeah, we need you.
And that's what these shout outs are for too, or for those of you that are, it means a lot to us because just a word of mouth thing right now, especially with the core that it seems like we've built with the amount of people that are actually downloading this. Like, I know that if you just tell more people, it's just going to pay it forward. And so we're so excited for that. And if you can do that, subscribe, rate, and review. The rate and review part is just as easy as subscribing. And so we've gotten some more reviews. So thank you so much from last week.
Yeah.
We're up to, I think, like 81. And so the goal is 200 by the end of this year. Because within that 2-year time frame, we're going to have the opportunity to be Rotten Tomatoes critics. That's one of the things that you can have on the resume, along with everything else that we're doing right now. And so that would be just another huge thing. And for real, like, please, like, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next, what we're going to do is, this is really exciting. We're going to reveal our next series. And
This is the announcement part of Shout Announcements.
Yeah, the announcement.
No more shouting.
This is the announcement part.
Yeah.
And we're so excited here. We literally are on the edge of our seats, but I'm going to keep you waiting for just a second. And I want to build some anticipation here. And what I want to do is, Carter, without revealing anything, how excited are you for what's coming?
Just sprinkle a little bit of that mystery hype
Can I,
on this.
In being completely honest right now, so we like to plan ahead, like quite a bit ahead. And so this was something that we had an idea for a long time ago. And it's in thinking about this and the fact that this is coming, like even months ago, there was a smile on my face. But now that it is almost here, it is this feeling that I have.
It's almost
that's
too much.
Like, yeah, it kind of starts.
I've got that feeling too, man.
Yeah, like the butterflies and just my face is getting warm. I am so very excited for this. And it snuck up on me because I was in this black hole that was Twilight and didn't know there was anything past this.
Well, then it's time to climb out.
Let's go.
And here's the crazy thing.
This is actually genuinely very crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Carter doesn't know that we're not doing the thing that he thinks we're doing next.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Carter,
He's
this
finding
is a
this
surprise
out
that
live
you're finding
right
out
now.
on air.
This is a surprise for Carter. We're doing a mini series right after Twilight, designed with Carter in mind. Doge, why don't you tell him what it is?
What is happening?
Carter, for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be spending extended time, not with the series that you think that we're doing, but in a series that we've put together that is called Thanks a Lot. And we are taking a deep dive.
It's a journey through the life and times
of one
karate
Taylor
legend,
Lautner.
Taylor Lautner.
No, wait, guys.
Hey, man.
Guys, no.
Yeah.
Are y'all serious right
Very
now?
serious.
Hey, man, here's a graphic for it.
I'm crying. No, this is real.
This is real.
Thanks a lot. Like, it's like Lautner.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's 3?
There's 3.
Yep.
We're hitting 3 of the biggest highlights from his film career.
Oh, no.
Starring roles, Carter.
Yep.
This is all
This
for you,
is
buddy.
so
Carter, we
weird.
did this for you.
Guys, this is so weird. My emotions right now are as if I've won an award. But I'm like excited because it's going to be funny, but I'm also so bummed. Oh no.
We have been planning this for quite literally months.
Are you serious?
Since before we
When
decided
we-
we were doing Twilight.
When we had our Hallmark meeting at the restaurant and we had burgers, You left before us, and we sat and planned this after you left.
God, I'll never leave before you again. Casa de Chunk, guys, doesn't have AC. I am in a pool of my own nervous sweat right now. We're doing a Taylor Lautner series?
We're doing a Taylor Lautner series. And it's called Thanks a Lot.
It's so good that y'all didn't tell me about this, guys.
We know.
This is a real reaction. I hope it comes across on the recording. Y'all got so pumped, and I thought it was going to be something so cool. Okay, cool. It's going to be a roast. I have to prepare my heart for this. Wow. Y'all set that up so good. Before this, Jordan was like, hey, Cara, I need you to get real pumped about the next series that we're doing, which I thought that's what it was. You have
my goodness.
betrayed me.
Keep your eyes peeled on our social media. We're going to be putting out some series art for Thanks a Lot, as
We're going to
well
be
as
announcing what the movies are.
as well as the release schedule. We're really, really excited about this one. I think this is going to give us a really great opportunity to try and understand why Taylor. Because I think that's the biggest question in all of our minds after Twilight, right?
Why?
Why
Taylor? Yeah.
Yeah.
And where did Burger King go wrong?
Exactly. Was Burger King trying to save us?
Find all of that out and more when we begin. Thanks a lot. Next week.
We have to develop a new rating system. It's like
It'll be the Burger King menu.
musical weapon.
I give this one a Whopper.
This was a Whopper.
It's the Burger King menu.
This is a burger. This is
Well-
a chicken fry.
That was it for our most exciting segment ever of
I'm done. Enjoy the rest of this episode with just the two of you. Guys!
Hey, listeners, it's just me, Jordan, and Doz here
me.
in the studio. We're recording kind of a meta-narrative in between podcast segments because Carter literally just stood up and walked outside
left.
into the 35-degree weather because he was sweating so much. And now he's back in the room, and we're back.
No. Let's talk about this live. We're going to make a deal. We're going to talk about this live, make a deal on air. Because you've done this to me, and you've put 3 more Taylor Lautner films in my life, you have to do something with me for every one of those episodes.
Okay.
Every one of those episodes, none of us wears a shirt.
Okay, fine.
All right.
We're just
record
without our shirts
We
on.
record shirtless. I'm in. Fine. I'm so down.
Just to get
Completely
ready.
in. To live in that Taylor space.
I'm
Shirtless,
completely in.
shirtless and eating Burger King.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Fair. It stinks because you also are making me have this other half of Taylor Lautner of this movie. Like it's 3.5. Guys, this stupid podcast is doing 8 Taylor Lautner movies. That's as long as the Harry Potter series. This is so bad. I'm so mad at y'all. Okay.
All right, we got to talk about the rest of this Taylor Lautner movie before we can hit the other T-lots.
So the vampires do some stuff. We're back. Okay, here it is. The vampires formulate their plan to reach out to their vampire friends and get eyewitnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
To
they're
say,
trying
no,
to.
she's fine.
Yeah, they're trying to record "We Eat the World," and they're getting all of the vampire celebrities of the world.
We eat the world.
We eat the world.
Paul
She's
McCartney.
a regular children.
Oh,
I mean, it takes a long time. Rami Malek's in this.
yeah.
He's in this
Yeah.
one. Kind of weird.
You know, there's a lot of parts that are weird to this, and I'll say my super dump is that in this just random collection of these different family members and just different people, they have given me so many more plots that I feel like would have been better than this one.
Yep. That's the cardinal sin. Every single Twilight movie has had a B plot, C plot, D plot, a Z plot that is more interesting than our A plot.
Every
this is
Twilight movie.
Full of them. All this did
Spoils
was
itself like that.
completely backfire.
Yeah.
The guy Pace, who was in the every war.
The American
Lee
Revolution.
Pace
Yeah.
is my super pump
Really?
Okay.
because thinking about his character and how interesting he would be got me through the second half of this movie.
You have to do a lot of thinking about how interesting he would be, though, because it was offensive to me how much they don't give him.
Right.
Like they put him here, and really all we know is he fought in a lot of wars. He hates British people, and he wants to
in
play
love with
Wii
that
Sports with Shockwave.
Yeah.
You know, it's like so
Shockwave
strange.
the vampire.
Oh, I've got names for a lot of them.
Oh,
so
that makes me really
Tyra
happy.
Fangs. That's the one that can make you.
so good.
She's the one that can make you have any kind of reality through your eyes. It's so bad. Like, it was X-Men type stuff, right?
It really was.
You remember how, like, when Fast
Where
and
did the superpowers come
That's
from?
it. Like, these vampire stuff stopped being things that would be like even remotely plausible for a vampire, I guess. It really, really did feel like
They're just the X-Men. Yeah.
he's an X-Man who can manipulate the elements.
The elements.
Freddie Mercury has the most insane vampire powers.
Every time. It's just so amazing. It's so amazing. And they've got all these different stories. And the guy, I mean, it's they plucked him from everywhere. It was like,
Yeah.
don't I recognize like almost every one of these people? Because the ice truck killer is the guy from Dexter.
Yes.
Who is like Remy Malek's. No, he's not. There's so many. This is kind of what it was like to try and talk about
the blonde Transylvanian one, like the younger of the two, is the bad guy from Max Keeble's Big Move.
Really?
Oh my
He's the school
goodness
bully.
gracious. Who's afraid of the frog?
Yeah, he's Trevor McGinty.
McGinty. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that are basically Dracula. They're
Yes.
like from, yeah.
That in a movie characterized and defined by its own stupidity, those guys are so stupid.
They're bad.
Like, that's so dumb, y'all.
I do love the idea of the Volturi having kicked out sort of like the OG vampires from their home. That's interesting to me.
I absolutely hate that.
Really?
To me, it's like, if you're going to do that, like, we can't, like, if you want to tell that Volturi, like, political vampire power struggle story, I'm really in for that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's got to be your A plot, though. Like, the fact that it's just here, like, they offhandedly mention it in the part 2 of the last installment.
Yeah.
It's like, you're wasting
No,
that.
we've got to be all on the same page here that all of these were wasted potential stories, but I'm just saying that's an interesting one.
That's an
to me.
interesting
Those
story,
two had
yes.
such a weird like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern vibe.
They really
Yes.
did.
It was so
They're
strange
just
to me.
vampire Timon and Pumbaa.
Out
It was,
of
yes, I thought
nowhere.
of that duo as well. Completely out of nowhere. And then they just leave later too.
Yep.
Because no one's getting killed.
Yep.
So weird. Then we've got the Vampirish from Ireland.
From Vampireland.
So good. Oh my
But then
goodness.
it's like, yeah, they don't worry me as much as they were basically like the homeless ones.
the
nomads?
The nomads, yeah. Or like the wanderers or whatever. No, I laughed out
What's
loud
nomadic about Urban Outfitters?
when they showed the Irish vampires, because I was like, you can tell he's Irish because of the hat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Irish hat. And whatever hat you're picturing, you're probably right.
Is it plaid?
Yep.
Is it tartan?
Yep.
I know that's an Irish. That's a kilt, right? Or is
I
it
don't
like
know.
a pattern.
Is it the kind of
I
hat
never
that a
heard that
paper
word.
boy would wear?
Yep.
Yep.
It's that Ireland.
That's the
hat.
Irish one.
Hmm.
And then there was a couple that was like a rock and roll
We're
one that
vampires!
I didn't remember seeing them. I really didn't. But anyways, everybody gets together, has a real nice vampire weekend. And
There it is.
Man, I knew. Sounded like you were doing the Macarena.
Yeah, no, it's a good one.
Did you guys notice they get the number of vampires wrong in the dialogue of this movie?
do they really?
Whenever Lee Pace is the last one. No, the vampire who looks
The one
like
who bails?
who looks like Jesus, who leaves.
Oh, does
That
he
one?
ever do anything?
No, he does nothing at all. But
Okay, he was in Across the Universe.
when he comes to the house, they're like, and this makes 18 vampires. He's the 19th one to come to the house. Like,
And the thing too
how
is
do
like,
you mess that up?
well, they're 18 and a half. They're not counting Bella. Well, no, she would be.
She is a vampire. Maybe they weren't counting Röneeesme.
Are you counting
and I was
Taylor?
counting Röneeesme.
me.
Who knows?
It's just weird.
But even then, why would you say 18? Why would you make the count?
It's
because
bizarre.
of the count.
I see it now. Okay, it all makes sense.
Fun.
Okay.
You know who would be great at correcting us on that counting thing? It's actually the 20th vampire, and he's just a Muppet. No, Sesame Street.
The
He's
Count.
like, yep, the
Jim
Count.
Henson. Either way.
Juan.
That's it for me.
I thought
we
you were
got
going to
so
say
much more
something.
ground to
No,
cover.
I don't have anything else
We
to
got to
say.
go to the mountaintop. Oh yeah, Jasper and Alice just bailed,
They bounce.
and apparently they have they got a passport guy, and his whole. Did you notice what Jacob's last name was on his passport?
Yes, my super pump. Jacob's last name is Wolf with an E. As if that makes it less obvious. Jacob's last name on his passport is Wolf. Super pump. And it was also a super pump, legitimately, because I thought this would be the last of Taylor Lautner. And that was like his going away party.
It wasn't.
Surprise.
For multiple
Anyways,
reasons, it
That's
was
the
not.
super pump.
But this guy is
my.
just like cool with them being ageless vampires. They come back, and the game plan is good thing you got those passports, because if the fight does happen, go ahead and bring your newborn daughter to the fight. And then if the fight does happen, run away with her.
I mean, I
Right.
guess they needed to have the proof. Like, they thought she was their strongest play, like the best card.
Sure.
So they need to at least have her there for that.
Sure.
So that's what I thought. But I was also kind of like, So if she wasn't there, was it inevitable that they would fight?
I don't know.
Maybe.
They show up at the mountaintop for the fight, and there are 19 vampires and some wolves, and then about 1,000 Volturi.
There were a lot.
That line is huge.
There were the kind of like eagle eye view that we have when we pull back makes it way less cool looking.
Yep.
It
Because
just looked like
there's
a
like 50
collection of
people
dirt.
here.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a massive, like, just this massive snowfield. And
This was a few
It's
years.
like the
80
can we
people
get
total.
What's with the chimp and the bug?
Yeah.
like
this is a few years, I think maybe 1 or 2 years after we saw the Battle of Hogwarts. It was
which
like
was great.
when we zoom out and we see the scope and the scale of that, and then we see this from the sky, and there's like 25 people having a
Yeah.
disagreement.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to commend the fantastic work that Dakota Fanning does in this film. Dakota Fanning has not even one line. She has one word in this entire movie.
Pain.
Pain.
She walks like a wet linguine.
Ew.
That sounds like lyrics from like a
Like a
70s
Counting Crows
No,
song.
I was about to say like a 70s punk song.
Yeah.
But she does. Every time she walks, it's forward and then back a little, then forward and then back a little.
It's
then
kinda
forward and
Like
then
a
back.
squid pretending to be human.
Yeah. It's
Guys-
like Octodad or whatever that game is.
I've been trying to think of how do we go through this. Do we need to go through the movie right now as if we don't know what's going to happen right
yes,
after?
we do.
Okay, so it's just so crazy because right off the bat, I mean, they burn up Homegirl, and then Liam Neeson is just too far away to help with everything. But they rip off her arms and her head because she's lied. Because they see Röneeesme is actually half human.
Who?
Röneeesme.
Röneeesme.
Röneeesme
Thank you.
is half human. And by the way, Arrow he loves it.
Hey Carter, what does his laugh sound like?
It's
when he
something
finds
like
out?
this.
But really,
It's like
though.
it's
Honestly,
really,
though.
really bad.
It is.
But stuff's going down. What gets
Carlisle
Carlisle
dies
to
like
start?
first
Carlisle's head just gets ripped off
with minimal
Just
effort.
popped off like taking a Lego, guys.
up in the air.
This whole fight, all I could do is laugh, thinking vampires are rock'em sock'em robots.
Dude,
Just
yes.
ding, and then they're dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time a head got popped right off, I was giggling.
Yeah. That's so funny. I think I'm starting to think a lot of that has to do with. Do you think they did that effect? I don't know if it's described in the book that this is kind of what happens, or do they actually say just rip the head
I
off?
don't even remember.
But is this an effect that they added to make it
the stone
PG-13?
thing? I think so.
Because if it was blood, it would be R.
Like the goriest fight ever.
It would be gory, but like other movies that have done it are like Uruk-hai and goblins in Lord of the Rings had
Yeah.
black blood.
Yeah.
Tarantino kept one of the Kill Bills from being NC-17 because of a scene where people get massacred by just going to black and white in that scene.
Yeah,
So there's just something about the color red that people are like, "Meh,"
it's a bad one.
real bad one.
But you got wolves in. I think Sam dies in this one.
Sam dies.
Sam dies. Most of the Cullens die.
Most of the Cullens are dead. Jasper dies.
Jasper dies.
And then my favorite part is when Freddie Mercury's like, elbow battle, and just boom, hits the ground. And he's like, battle, and like the whole world breaks in half.
This is interesting because what we find out is that Forks is over hell.
It's over.
Yeah, fair enough.
The
You gotta
lava's not too far away.
You got to go
kids.
down like 20 feet, and then you're at magma.
Yeah.
Lava. It's like when the temple
What?
of Doom. No. That's in Last Crusade, wherever they go in Indiana Jones, and the
Temple
earth,
of the Grail.
Earth just opens up and people just fall in, never to come back.
Y'all, we should do an Indiana Jones series. I love those movies.
Why don't we do? Let's just do that next.
No,
we got something else
big
important
plans.
next, I think. What is it?
Oh, thanks a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A journey through the life and times of burger master and karate legend Taylor Lautner.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's true. We do have to do that.
Wait, so y'all knew about that even when I was reading all that stuff about Burger King and
No, we had no idea.
The Burger King Karate Master part.
right?
But
I had no
But
idea.
you
his
are
backstory.
using my own material in.
If
Yes,
you go
I'm
back
using
and
it
listen
against
to
you.
us losing our minds at how much you dislike Taylor Lautner throughout this series, it gets progressively harder the more you talk about it.
Crazy.
It's like when you
I'm
watch
starting
Fight
to
Club
think
for the
about some
second
of it.
time.
Yep.
Oh wow, it was a long play.
It really was.
Freaking.
We have a whole separate group message without you.
We don't.
We don't.
We
That was
don't.
a lie.
Ocean's 3 over here.
But sorry, that was the most flirty laugh I've ever done on this show.
Laugh like Arrow then. Laugh like Arrow to get us back in. Okay, great. Now we're back in, and Arrow's laughing at all the people that are dying in this battle.
He loves the
It's
bloodshed.
crazy. So
Truly
much
does.
dying.
And then it's just not, huh?
It's not.
Hey, guess what, everybody?
I figured.
We're right here, and it's right now, and it's my super dump.
Yeah.
The fact, number one, it's a multifaceted super dump. Like a glass vampire face, if you will.
Sure.
Many facets, many surfaces.
Lots of
to cover.
textures.
The number one thing that sucks just so much is the fake out.
Vampires. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. The number one thing that sucks so much is the fake out. That is
It's disrespectful.
absolutely garbage. To present a final conflict that has stakes and that has like actual consequence and then say, well, no, that didn't happen is just the worst. It's cowardice. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you want that conflict, then commit to it. The second facet of this super dump is that the conflict is completely resolved and nobody has to do anything.
Yeah.
Imagine we were watching Star Wars, the first one. We're in the theater in 1977 watching Star Wars. We get to the end. We get to the Death Star briefing. And they say, this is a hole small enough for a single man fighter. We can fire some proton torpedoes in and ignite the main reactor core. But first, I'm going to Skype Grand Moff Tarkin and just see if he wants to call it off.
Yeah.
And they call him, and Grand Moff Tarkin says, you know what? We actually don't really want to fire this laser at you guys. And the rebels go, well, great, because we don't really want to fight you. Credits.
Yeah.
That's what this is. This is this is unbelievable avoidance of any kind of conflict.
Yeah.
Was there supposed to be some kind of like lesson from that? Or like man, if more of the world would just agree and take the time to talk about it,
I don't think there's a
be war.
platitude in it.
Well, let's not forget the timely arrival of our other half vampire, half human friend
Yeah.
who's like, I've been alive for like 150 years, so
Bidahontas, dude.
we're fine. Yeah, Bidahontas, very good.
Yeah. And yeah, they're just still Native American. I don't know. They just kind of walk out.
But they were
It's
from like an Amazonian island, weren't they?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's like
Didn't I say?
you're half blood. Is how old I stopped when it's like all these things that were just perfect.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like
I stopped when I was 7. Or after 7 years. I was
full grown,
growth.
and then I
looked
never
like this.
grew anymore. And I got perfect GPA, and I got star student so many times.
I got everything I ever wanted.
I listened to my
Santa
mom
Claus came
a
to my
lot
house
of
every
times.
day.
And Santa Claus could exist in this universe.
I hope so.
Yeah, the whole thing is just, I don't know. Like at this point, like I stopped laughing at it. You know what I mean? Like,
I did not.
like I was very, very angry at this point.
I had the blessing of already knowing that was
I had
coming.
no idea this was coming, and I was so angry. Like
I
this,
could tell by your message you sent in our Slack.
I sent a very angry text message in our Slack. But like this whole thing, Breaking Dawn 1 and 2, feels like an 8th grade creative writing project.
I genuinely remember getting in trouble in first grade for turning in like a a 1-page story where the end was, and then I woke up and none of it was real. And my teacher wrote, like, you can do better than this.
No
I
way.
vividly remember it.
That's the thing. Like this one in particular, like they are all bad. This one in particular, Breaking Dawn, is about nothing.
Yep.
Nothing is at stake, and it doesn't even.
It says nothing.
It adheres to nothing that happens in the first three. Like the first three, like our conflict is completely resolved. Our series meta narrative of I want to marry Edward and become a vampire, that is resolved in like the beginning of part 1 of this.
Yeah.
This could be a standalone movie called Protect That Baby.
Yeah, genuinely. Like this has no ties to the rest of Twilight, and that's why the X-Men superpowers feel super out of place. There is a complete, not even a lack of competence to stick to any kind of narrative structure. There's an unwillingness to stick to narrative structure of just like, no, we're just going to like show scenes of people doing stuff. And like, that's a good story. So you're going to love it.
This feels the most like fan fiction of any of them. And, and I think it's because of how schizophrenic the tone and the message of this movie is. Because 1 second it's this and 1 second it's that and 1 second it's this. And what like it never sticks to one thing for any longer than a scene.
Oh my goodness. Like I'm genuinely getting heated, getting angry.
It's because it's hot in this.
Well, it's because it's hot in here, but like this is so frustrating. Like I don't know. You guys know this. If you've listened for a while, you know this. I'm like really, really passionate about story craft.
Yeah.
And like the art and the balance of the artistic and the formulaic in storytelling and the things that we can fall back on as these are the bones of a good story. And this frustrates me so much because it just completely avoids any kind of structure.
It really
Still
does.
laughed a lot though for me.
It was bad.
It was awful, but I giggled.
One final pump that I'll do. There is something that is, I hate that it was in this medium, the medium of Twilight, but there is something about this like forever love between two people.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. Like they will have each other like years and years from now. If someone else is reading, like you can just say they still love each other. Like we can just assume they're going to live forever and love each other. So I don't know. I kind of thought that was
I can get more with that.
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's really sweet.
But the movie ends with us seeing a full-grown Röneeesme on the beach with Jacob and the family.
Which brings up questions.
Because Jacob wasn't older.
Is it physical age? Is it mental age?
Is she a 7-year-old in an adult?
What makes that not creepy?
Well, nothing.
Fair enough.
Nothing makes it not creepy.
The last thing is Bella and Edward back in their field of flowers.
Sure, because of course it is. And then she basically is just like, I want to show you this montage that I made you in my brain. But he can't read her brain. So
No, that's her letting her shield down.
Yeah. She let it
Like
down.
that's her power. Her
We didn't even talk about
superpower
her
is
she let it
shields.
down?
Yeah, her superpower is shield, so she unshields herself.
First of all, convenient much.
Yeah.
Second of
Yeah,
all,
it's pretty convenient.
it was set to the most cliched song of all time.
Dude, that song was written for this.
No.
Yep.
It was.
No.
It was.
Nope.
I knew it was.
It
I
was.
refuse to believe
Every
that.
I was
song,
at-
every song in this movie was written for this movie. That song was written for this movie.
This was the last song. This was the last song that is it Caitlin Perry? What's her name? It's not Katy Perry. What's the name of the artist who sings that?
Christina Perry.
Christina Perry. She opened for Ed Sheeran one time when I saw him, and that was the last song that she did, and everybody went wild. And she said it was a song that she wrote for Twilight.
That is insanity.
Yep.
But I had to pause the movie. I was laughing so hard because Kylie and I were just going back and forth laughing about if Bella had been like, Edward, I want to show you something. Just like, Edward, did you like it? Edward,
Just
did you like
showing
what
a
I
weird
just did?
face.
Yes.
She like crosses her eyes. She rolls her tongue. I've been
I
really
can do the clover
practicing.
thing the vampirist taught me.
That's hilarious.
She
Oh, we
does
just
a
laughed so hard.
somersault.
I almost landed.
That is funny.
And then the movie's over and has the most busted end credits of all time.
Yo, this is the weirdest thing. It's the credits for the whole series.
It's everybody who was ever in
any
movie.
Twilight.
Yeah, with
It has both Victorias.
yeah,
It
when
really does.
when the movie stopped for me, I saw on that little bar at the bottom on Hulu that there was still like 15 minutes left or something. It's like, what on earth?
Is
Are
Nick
these-
Fury going to come ask him to join
right?
the Avengers?
It's so crazy. Like, what's the after credit scene? But yeah, that was ridiculous. Because it's like saying, like, let's pay homage to the greatest series of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Nobody's
too
ever
much.
done
Lord
didn't
of the
deserve it.
Rings didn't have that.
No.
It's
Nobody
too
did
much.
that.
So Is it time to rate this movie?
I'm so ready
Yay.
to rate this one.
Well, we here at Two Chunks and a Hunk have perfected the art of movie rating using science. That's right, from school, with the scientific cinema scale, and that is as follows. The best thing we can ever say about a movie is own it, don't lend it, buy that poster. The next best thing, it's going to be buy it, followed by rent it, and then stream it. After that, it's going to be forget it. And last, but certainly least, the worst thing we can ever say about a movie. God hath forsaken us. I'd like to go first.
Okay.
Stream it. If this movie was available to stream for free, and it is, and I was with a group of friends who just wanted to laugh at a bad movie,
Yeah.
this would for sure be one of my top choices.
We needed like an ironic tag for some of these ratings.
This is
though.
definitely an ironic rating.
It's an ironic stream because, to be fair, it's not like other movies that you've given a stream to.
No, not at all. But it's so bad that it circled back around for me, and I would stream it.
Forget it. It's a forget it for me. Like it really is so crazy, and it wasn't as bad as part one to me. And part one was like that perfect like B movie. Like it was just really bad. And I don't know. It's a forget it for me. It's not a rent it. I didn't enjoy it as much, even though I was already in the happy place.
I think for me it was just Röneeesme face.
So bad.
Killed me. I loved it so much.
And then Doge is buying the poster. So I guess that's all for today.
That's it. I guess that wraps us up.
God hath forsaken us.
Is that 4 out of 5?
No.
That's
Only
3
3.
out of 5.
Yeah.
This is.
Offensive?
Know that I don't say this lightly. This is without any shadow of a doubt the very worst movie I have ever seen in my life. There is absolutely nothing redeeming in this.
It's bad.
If you care about a compelling story, go somewhere else. If you want characters that you can relate to, go somewhere else. If you want anything other than people talking at each other with a camera pointed at them, go somewhere else. There is nothing redeeming in this entire movie.
It's all uphill from here, guys. Can't wait. Look what you've done to yourselves. Not to me.
Destroyed.
You're giving us 3 more movies.
Hey, that reminds me. Make sure you tune in next week for week 1, movie 1 of our new mini series. Thanks a lot.
Wait, I just realized I'm going to have to watch all of these.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we do on this podcast.
Yeah, we
Yep.
do.
Man.
Carter is having a rough time with this one.
Yep.
The movie that we're starting with is maybe the peak of Taylor's career.
You guys know it's coming. It's got to be this one.
There's no other option. Carter, do you want to tell him what we're starting with?
We're starting with Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
That is true. We are starting with That Old Chestnut.
More like Shark Boy. We're going to have to cut that
No,
out.
we're not.
No, we're not.
Oh,
keeping
wow.
that.
Okay, cool.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
In which a young karate master befriends a woman made entirely of molten stone.
I've never seen that movie.
You're completely leaving out Baby Reliant K frontman main character.
I know.
I've never seen this movie.
Wait, really?
Oh.
How can you
buckle
call
up.
yourself a Taylor head if you haven't seen this one?
Because it's about hating him, not loving him.
And if there's anybody that you love besides Taylor, I know it's George Lopez. And don't worry, we got some of him for you in this one.
Yeah.
He's in this movie.
So make sure you tune in next week as we torture ourselves for your listening pleasure.
The definitive podcast review of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
This is
Good
going to be our
grief.
TSMR series.
Wow, that would have been a good name too.
Mm-hmm. Can't change it.
I think I know how we can close out the episode, unless y'all had an idea.
No, you deserve this.
No, we'll give it to you.
Okay. So,
Kill me.
Very much, no. Very much in the theme of like the ending of this movie that we just reviewed, we pull away and it's just all in Alice's head. Right? So, give me your name as we close it out, and which movie would this have been? Like put that same situation in another movie. Like, but the actual ending, like the ending that we see that was actually in this movie, but we're gonna flip the script and say, actually, that was all a dream, and kind of give me your scenario. Not Alice with Arrow, but something completely different.
Okay. I'm Jordan, and at the end of the King's speech, the King wakes up and still has a speech.
No.
I'm Doge, and at the end of Batman versus Superman, Mark Zuckerberg wakes up and goes, "Nah, Jesse Eisenberg's Social Network.
I thought you were going to say, I wake up and it never happened.
Social Network was. At the very end of Prince of Egypt, Moses wakes up and Pharaoh's like, yeah, I'll follow Jesus.
Because that's totally what Moses was asking, right?
Yeah. Hey,
Follow
will you
Jesus.
follow Jesus?
You don't know about him yet.
Pharaoh,
Nobody really does. But
have you
dude,
heard
you're
of
going to
Jesus?
love this
No,
guy.
I think he's converted before he even has his people. Maybe it would have been better to be like, yeah, I'll let your people go.